So someone who is just a fresher, who's just starting his career, what will be your suggestion to start step by step to come into the generative AI field?
My advice, do it, right? Just get creating something.
Seeing that, oh, everyone is doing, let me also try. Definitely something good is gonna happen.
Companies like Accenture are projecting that they're gonna hire something like 65,000 people.
Biology background or a commerce background or arts background, is it gonna be problematic?
I would advise not to spend a lot of time going through stats and math and all that. A lot of people
As a fresher, what salaries we can expect in the Gen AI domain?
I think those who enjoy can't give it up. It's very addictive.
Hi everyone, my name is Shivangi Tiwari, and in today's podcast we have Jerry Kurian with us. He's a tech professional from last 25 years. He has worked across multiple companies, architecting and delivering different sort of software products. He has worked in the AI industry for more than 4 years, and currently he is mentoring students and professionals who want to transition or come into the Gen AI field. So in today's podcast, we will understand from him that how someone can transition or come into the Gen AI field, what exactly is generative AI, how is the market, how is the job scenario for generative AI professionals, and if you want to come into the Gen AI field, what all steps you should follow. So I'm sure this podcast is going to be really informative and helpful for you guys. But before we start, don't forget to hit that like button. Before we deep dive and know that how you can pursue your career in the field of generative AI, let me tell you an interesting fact. फोर्ब्स रिपोर्ट के अकॉर्डिंग 97 मिलियन से ज़्यादा नई जॉब्स आने वाली हैं इन द करेंट जॉब मार्केट जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ AI इटसेल्फ। ये तो रही डायरेक्ट जॉब्स की बात। इसके अलावा अगर आप अपनी इंटरव्यू प्रिपरेशन को एक्सेलरेट करना चाहते हैं देन ऑल्सो यू कैन यूज़ जेनरेटिव AI। सो ओडेन स्कूल एक फ्री वेबिनार कंडक्ट करा रहा है 19 अप्रैल यानी कि कल, जिसमें आप एनरोल कर सकते हैं, एंड उसका टॉपिक ही है प्रिपरेशन 2.0 ट्रांसफॉर्मिंग योर अप्रोच विथ जेनरेटिव AI। एंड ये सेशन बहुत इन्फॉर्मेटिव और बहुत एडिफाइंग होने वाला है क्योंकि जो ग्रे कैंपस की डायरेक्टर हैं वो ही इस सेशन को कंडक्ट करवाने वाली है, वही इस सेशन को लेने वाली है। सो अगर आप स्टूडेंट हो या वर्किंग प्रोफेशनल हो या आप अपना करियर ट्रांजिशन करना चाहते हो तो ज़्यादा लेट मत करो, यू कैन डेफिनेटली रजिस्टर फॉर द वेबिनार। फ्री वेबिनार है, सो स्लॉट्स भरने से पहले फटाफट से जाके रजिस्टर कर लो। अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस, इफ यू आर इंटरेस्टेड इन डेटा साइंस देन यू कैन डेफिनेटली चेक आउट दैट डेटा साइंस कोर्स एज वेल। इनके जो कोर्सेज होते हैं वो लाइव इंस्ट्रक्टर लेड कोर्सेज होते हैं, प्रोजेक्ट बेस्ड लर्निंग होती है, एंड दे ऑल्सो प्रोवाइड यू जॉब असिस्टेंस विद देयर 500+ हायरिंग पार्टनर्स। काफ़ी सारे लोगों ने अपने करियर को स्टार्ट और करियर को ट्रांजिशन किया है विद देयर डेटा साइंस कोर्स। यू कैन सी सम ऑफ द सक्सेस स्टोरीज ऑन द स्क्रीन। सो इफ यू आर इंटरेस्टेड इन द डेटा साइंस कोर्स देन डोंट फॉरगेट टू चेक आउट देयर पेज। बाकी कल का जो वेबिनार है इट्स गोना बी फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट, सो आई वुड से कि डोंट मिस आउट दिस चांस एंड एज अर्ली एज पॉसिबल आप रजिस्टर कर लो। लिंक मैं डिस्क्रिप्शन और पिन कॉमेंट में दे दूंगी। अब पॉडकास्ट में आगे बढ़ते हैं। So let me welcome Jerry on my channel. Hi Jerry, how are you doing?
Hi Shivangi, all good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good too. Sir, I have given a brief introduction, but I would want you to introduce yourself to my audience.
Sure. First of all, thanks for having me on this podcast. I'm very glad to be talking to all your audience. So, like you said, I've been in the software industry for the last 25 years and I've been coding for more than that. What I enjoy the most is actually creating something, coding and coming up with a software, a business solution. And that's what I've been doing a lot. But I've also been an entrepreneur. I've worked on multiple products, created multiple companies. And also, one of my core passion is actually working with technology professionals, helping mentor them and help them grow in their career. And that's been something which I've been doing on and off throughout my career. So most recently, I've been working in the AI industry. I was a director of engineering at a company where we created the conversational AI product, which was taken to the market, and I was fortunate enough to be involved from the start to a place where it has gone to thousands of stores. So and now I'm working in a company called GenAI People, where my main aim is to mentor software professionals who want to get into generative AI. So that's what I'm doing now.
Awesome. So this podcast is going to be really informative with your expertise and experiences. We are going to learn a lot from you. So let's start with the first question, sir. That what exactly is the artificial intelligence trend? What exactly is artificial intelligence, and what are the different job roles that are available in AI?
Sure. First of all, AI is the kind of software where you do not kind of program in the requirements or the algorithm as a Programmers don't do that, but programmers train a model, right? So AI needs to be intelligent, and for intelligence there has to be a brain. So in an AI world, the brain is model. So you train it with a lot of data and make it do certain things, right? So that's typically what an AI software looks like in terms of what job roles are. Then to train this, to create this brain and make it intelligent, you need a lot of data. So you need people who can understand data, right? Who can understand how to best make use of data. And typically these kind of people are called data scientists, right? And some of it is also that work is also done by what is called machine learning engineers, right? So they also take the data, make it in the right format, make sure that it is available in the right way for it to be put into the model, for it to be trained. So you'll see machine learning engineers as another job role in AI companies. Then AI companies also have a lot of software engineers because AI model requires training pipeline. So building that pipeline requires a lot of engineering work. So you will see a lot of software engineers also being part of AI world. So typically you'll see AI, machine learning engineers, and software engineers together. They form the backbone of an AI team.
So, sir, when I listen from people that they are working in the generative AI domain or in the AI domain, I get quite confused. So, what exactly is generative AI and how is it different from the other forms of AI?
Right. Yeah. So, like you said, AI requires a model in the like a brain to be trained, right? So typically AI, which has been there for a long time in various forms in software, the whole effort was to train the model in a particular for it to do certain things, right? You can imagine like a child being trained to kind of recognize their parent in the beginning, right? So that is the level. So you can say that a model is trained to recognize cat. A model is trained to recognize a particular screw, right? So you would create a brain which is specialized for a particular task. That's what was happening so far in the world of AI. But with generative AI, the approach is slightly different. You can say that now we are getting into an adult human being which has a lot of information, who can think, right? So now that is what generative AI is trying to do. That there is a information based on which there is certain intelligence which is already built. Now it can do multiple different things, right? It is not specialized, but it is a little bit more generalized, and also it can create something new. So while earlier the models were trained to do one thing, they were never creating something. They were actually just responding to whatever they were trained on. Now, like you could have seen in ChatGPT, your generative AI model can come up with something new, right? Come up with a new poem, for example, right? That is where the word generative is coming from. It generates something new. So that's the major difference in generative AI versus what was there earlier. And that's why such a big hype, right? Because this is the first time a technology like this has been created, which can create something fresh, which was only possible for human beings earlier.
Understood, understood. So, what is the current job market trend for Gen AI and like which industries are actively hiring?
Right. So generative AI obviously is very new, right? You can say that with the launch of ChatGPT in November 2023 is where it really started. What is happening is that a lot of companies have been working on this. You can say almost every company is now working on generative AI. They are starting to figure out how to make use of it, right? So the first phase of it was companies figuring out what this is all about, doing a lot of POCs, right? They were using their internal resources to figure out, okay, how can we use it? How can their existing resources learn something and use it? Now we are graduating to a phase where people are moving from these POCs to real projects, right? So you will start seeing job opportunities opening up from across various different industries because generative AI is applicable across different industries. Now, if you see, generative AI has mostly taken off in marketing world and customer support world, where content generation, for example, in marketing is now being driven by ChatGPT and a lot of other tools like Midjourney, right? So those are the industries that have been pioneers in adopting generative AI. But if you look at software industry, then you will see that a lot of services companies are hiring for this role. A lot of companies are actually starting products where generative AI is being used, and they're going to hire a lot. So you will see a lot of hiring happening in for people with generative AI skill sets this year and beyond.
Got it, got it. So, like as fresher, we are very curious to know that in whatsoever industry we are targeting to go, what sort of salaries we are going to get. So as a fresher, what salaries we can expect in the Gen AI domain?
Right. So now, if you're looking at the software industry, then you can compare this with product development, right? The kind of salaries product developers command is what you're going to get here, because a lot of generative AI work is going to be in fresh products, creation of new products. So if you have those skill sets, you can expect those kind of salaries. And typically, product developers have been paid on the higher end of the spectrum in software development, be it a services company or a product development company. Product developers have been always paid higher. So if you have that kind of skill sets, then you can expect to get at the highest range in services companies, say 10 lakhs onwards, and in product companies, much more than that.
So,
Yeah.
sir, so that we can understand what exactly is Gen AI and to visualize it properly, can you give us some real world applications?
Yeah. So the the best real world application which probably everybody is using is the Chat GPT, right? The Chat GPT is an interface on top of the generative AI models, right? And if you are using Chat GPT regularly, you will know that the way you are interacting with the technology itself changes with generative AI, right? Now, if you look at information gathering, earlier there was Google. So you go and search, and that would take you to multiple resources, and then you do your own research on top of it. But with generative AI and the chat GPT, now you don't do it like that, right?
Yeah.
You are almost having a conversation, right? You're almost discussing with, having a discussion with a peer, right? So you say that, okay, this is what I want. So that's a very good example of the power of generative AI, right? You directly get to the point, you ask it what you want. So that's one very big example. Then in the world of content generation, like image generation, there are a lot of tools which have come up. Midjourney, Canva has a lot of tools now, which
Yeah.
are conversational AI. So those are some of the examples of tools which are showing generative AI capabilities, and things are going to just grow from here.
Now, how do you see the future of Gen AI in the coming years?
Yeah, generative AI, like you said, sorry. So generative AI, you can say, is just at its infancy right now, right? The model just came out 1.5 years back. The way I see it is, it's, you can imagine it, it is like a new OS, right? It's gonna have a lot of intelligence which is given, and then people are gonna build a lot of interesting applications on top of it, right? If you imagine like iPhone, then iPhone itself was the OS, but the real power of iPhone came by the applications that were built on top of it, right? And there are billion-dollar companies which have been built, which are purely applications on top of mobile OSs. Similar thing is going to happen here. So what you're going to see is almost every software transitioning to use generative AI at its core, right? And the products themselves will evolve, and new capabilities will be built, by knowing that there is generative AI at the center of it. So that way, a lot of work is going to happen over the next, say, 5 to 10 years, transforming all the software. So this is the area where a lot of investment is going to come. So jobs are going to be plenty, and jobs are going to be booming in this area going forward.
So, like, what skill set and knowledge an aspiring generative AI enthusiast should acquire to come into the field?
So first of all, become familiar with using these tools, right? Get interested, understand how ChatGPT is working, how the GPT, what the various models are, right? A lot of skill sets are going to be that of a very good software product developer. And from my perspective, the biggest skill sets is problem solving, right? Figuring out what are the problems to be solved, right? Thinking it through, breaking it down. Those are the core skill sets, right? Then knowing how to understand data. One of the roles which is emerging is prompt engineering, where you are actually feeding in the prompt. Well, a prompt is again a lot of data, right? A good prompt is all about feeding in the data. So having a sense of data, understanding how to create a proper prompt, how to ask questions, those are very, very important skills. Then your core software engineering skills. That is also going to be very, very critical for you to have. So work on those, work on creating something, work on coming up with your own ideas and creating something using your core software engineering skills and problem solving skills. So that's what I would say is how you get in.
Got it, got it. So, someone who is just a fresher, who's just starting his career, what will be your suggestion to like start step by step to come into the generative AI field?
So my suggestion to freshers is, say if you are from an engineering that kind of a background, then even getting into AI, my I would advise not to spend a lot of time going through stats and math and all that. A lot of people actually try and do that and get lost in that. On the other hand, the way I would suggest is like you try and create something. You try and be an engineer first, build something, right? Figure out a problem to solve, learn the necessary skill sets to create that particular product, for example. That would require a lot of engineering, a lot of prompt engineering if you're working in generative AI. Figure that out and create something. So that would actually tell you end to end what does it take, what is generative AI all about. Then once you are clear about that, then go into the math of it, right? Because from as an engineer and from what I have seen, people learn the best by doing. So my advice, do it, right? Just get creating something. Create it, then explore, right? And the best engineers are people who go to the depth of it, right? So first create, then go to the depth of math, understand it, right? That's how you will become even more effective.
So, yeah, this is the best advice someone can give you. With this, I remember one incident during my college time. I was making a project on robotics, and there were some concepts which are not clear to me. So, I went to my mentor and asked that what should I do? I'm not able to understand this theory and do the implementation part and all of it. So, he said just
Yeah.
start working on the project. If you are stuck, refer back to different ways where how you can identify that how you have to do the implementation of the particular theory that you are learning. So like it's very
Yeah.
important to first of all develop that interest and have that willpower that you
Yes.
actually want to learn or do something, and then you some way or the other figure out a way to just reach to what you are targeting to do. So that's a very good advice that sir gave to us. Another question that came in my mind is like if someone is coming from a, let's say, biology background or a commerce background or arts background, is it going to be problematic, difficult, or completely impossible for that person to come into this field?
So if you're trying to get into software engineering from these kind of fields, then again, my advice remains the same. It's not impossible for you to learn coding or creation, right? Programming is something which anybody can learn. All that you need is basic logical skills and analytical skills, right? So that doesn't require a particular academic background. If, of course, coming from an engineering background gives you that training, but it's a skill that can be acquired. So even if you're coming from there, first of all, do not think that it is impossible, but it is going to be very important that you come and show that passion by creating, right? Just acquiring another certificate would not be the way to go about it. Actually work on something, be interested, and create something and show that passion. And I'm sure people will give you a chance. So again, pretty much the same as what anybody else would do. You might have to work a little bit more to acquire the basic programming skills, but for sure this is possible. This is not something that you should be afraid of getting into.
Sir, I'm very excited to know that what work exactly do you do as a Gen AI specialist?
Let me tell you like what I did, say in my previous company where this was a conversational AI company where a product, I was involved in the development of a product. The product was typically to handle incoming calls in a restaurant, right? And our software would actually talk to the person who is calling in and take an order entirely and in a conversational manner. So I was director of engineering here. My primary role was to actually build the team, lead the team, help them develop multiple different tools that were required for making the AI model, train the AI model. And then I was also involved in setting up the quality team because one of the core areas of software is actually to check the quality of it. And it's very complicated in the conversational AI domain. So there was a lot of automation involved in that. So I was involved in all of that. So my primary role was actually helping this team deliver, right, whatever was required, building this team, mentoring that team. Right now, in the company that I've set up now called GenAI People, I am full-time mentor. I help software professionals who want to get into generative AI. I help mentor them. I help make sure that I come up with a personalized roadmap for each of them to get to their goal. So that is what I'm doing now, working with them as they are all working on their own products, and I help them create those products.
Awesome, awesome. Sir, how much coding do you do in your day-to-day chores? Like, do you do coding now also?
Yes, for me, coding is like my battery charger, right? Whenever I'm feeling down or tired, I code. So I enjoy coding. So, and this is something which I've been doing for the last 25 years, and I enjoy learning new programming languages and pretty much coded in everything out there. So I would say that in my 25 years career, maybe there's a gap of like 3 to 4 months where I did not actively code and just did the leading part of it. But I code, and that's what keeps me happy.
I think it's not a very common answer to hear from managers and people at your level, senior level, to say that they enjoy coding and they actually do it in their day-to-day life. But it's awesome to hear that from you. So,
I think
sir,
those who enjoy can't give it up. It's very addictive.
so coming to another part of the podcast, that what companies, which type of industries are generally hiring for Gen AI professionals in the current time?
Okay. So in the software industry, I'm seeing that almost every company is actually working on something or other in generative AI now. A lot of services companies have invested a lot in training their internal teams on generative AI. Companies like Accenture are projecting that they're going to hire something like 65,000 people with generative AI skills in the this year and maybe next year, because they are kind of really going in on generative AI market. So other services companies like Infosys, Wipro are also investing a lot. In fact, Infosys announced that they are going to invest $1 billion towards becoming an AI first company. So all of these services companies for sure are investing a lot and trying to go and get those generative AI projects and products. And then there are startups, product companies who are also starting. Every company is looking at their product and seeing that how do I bring in the generative AI element. So they must be starting some POCs and small projects. So that's another work going on. And a lot of VCs are now funding new startups, and they are insisting that it has to be generative AI based. So you'll see that a lot of work is now happening, and that will be reflected very soon in the kind of job openings which are going to be asking for generative AI skills. So in software industry, it's going to be across.
Now that we are learning something, we are acquiring all those skills and we are interested to build our career in the particular domain, and we have you who has such a good experience in the domain. So what according to you are the best approaches to reach to the recruiter or search for a job in Gen AI domain per se?
My advice would be very simple: build something, right? So if you are interested in getting into this domain, and the right time to do it is now because it's just the beginning. Learn what is required, but learn from the perspective of creating something, right? Don't just go with the approach of like I'll just do some courses and get certificates and then look around for a job. Uh, Come up with an idea, create something, use that as a way to approach recruiters, and look at non-traditional way of doing it. LinkedIn is one way. Build your network, right? Create a solid profile, not just a profile that talks about things, but also shows what you have done. That would be my approach. Reach out to people. People would be very happy to talk to people who are actually doing something, and senior folks who are in various different companies who identify the companies that are actually working in generative AI, approach them and show them what you've done, show your enthusiasm, and that's how I would say that is best opportunity for you to land a job is through that approach.
So, sir, sometimes what happens, we listen to people and we try to follow a trend, and that's how we enter into a particular industry, seeing that, oh, everyone is doing, let me also try. Definitely something good is gonna happen. So that way, if someone
Yeah,
enters into the Gen AI field, and after a year or
yeah.
so, that person realizes that this field is not made for me, is there any other role in which that person can switch without much friction?
So in that case, what I would suggest is like since you've already worked on this and you're aware of generative AI business domains where it's being used, then you have a very good knowledge of the business plus AI, right? Even if you're not enjoy doing it, I'm sure you understand it. And so if your interest is in actually talking to customers and helping the team, then the other area would be the business analysis kind of thing, right? Coming up with understanding what the customer needs, right? And if you could if that's what interests you, then that's a very promising, very, very rewarding field also. because what going forward, what people would require is people who can understand technology and business, right, and AI and business. So if you are that person and if you can bridge that gap by bringing in those business analysis skills, then that's another area which I would suggest that you can get into. Obviously, the other area is the pre-sales and sales, that side of things, right? Again, talking to prospective customers, building a proposal, right? That's another area which is very good if you're interested in customer interactions and all of that. So those are the two areas which I can definitely recommend. I'm sure there are more, but these are the things that I can recommend right now.
I totally agree to all the pointers that he mentioned. And on top of this, a simple suggestion for you guys. So it's like, it's your career. You have to like pursue it for for the coming 40 years at least, or not 40, so at least 30 years. So choose it wisely, spend some time identifying that what you actually like to do, identify what is going on in the industry, and align your skill set with the trends that are coming, and then come into the field. And definitely once you enter and you realize that it's not made for you, it's not a dead end, you can definitely change, but it's better to select the career wisely before you enter. So sir, coming to the last of the podcast, what advice would you give to people who are like interested in the Gen AI domain and who are enthusiastic about this field?
Yeah, my advice would be, first of all, be very excited about generative AI. I'm seeing a lot of people talking about AI taking away jobs and being afraid. Don't be afraid. Get in, understand what it is, be excited to create something, first of all, right? Just look at this as something which is very, very transformative. So your thought should be, hey, it is such a transformative thing. Let me understand it. Let me build something with it, right? Let me get into it. That's the way you can actually be safer than by being afraid of it, right? A simple example like programming itself, people are saying that software programming will disappear. So software programming is definitely going to evolve from here, for sure, right? The programming, the way it happens today, is not the way it is going to be happening tomorrow. But that doesn't mean that programmers are not going to be required. It's just that they are going to be programming it very differently. So learn those tools, right? Even if you're seeing GitHub Copilot, Devin, learn them, right? Be very good at using them. So simple advice, be excited. Do not be afraid. Just get in and just start creating something.
That's a great advice which all of us should implement to like improve our professional life. So thank you so much, sir, for coming on my channel on such a short notice. Like in the beginning, I was hesitant to send you the connection request and request you for the podcast, but I'm so grateful that you accepted it, and on a short invite, you came on my channel. And after a lot of troubles with shooting the video, we did it finally. And I'm sure this podcast is going to be helpful for all those of you who are preparing to come into the GenAI field. So once again, sir, thank you so much.
Thanks, Shivangi, for calling me and reaching out. And it's been a pleasure dealing with you. And I hope this has been very useful for people who are listening in.
Guys, if you like the podcast, अगर आपको podcast अच्छी लगी है, edifying लगी है, informative लगी है, so don't forget to hit that like button, share it to your friends and family, and subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to hit the bell notification so that you get notified whenever I post my new video. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.